Hello everyone, and welcome back to Voxel Tales. Dan here again, and I'm lucky to be alive. Last time I found a secret and abandoned lab under the castle, and nearly got blown to pieces escaping from it with a, something I saved from a broken stasis tank. I took it back to the inn and was gonna go looking for medical supplies, but then I must have passed out, cause the next thing I know I'm waking up in a chair.
Oh, Dan, you're awake, thank heavens.
Tom? What happened?
So I was hoping you could tell me. One of the villagers told me you came in here carrying a purple monster, so I came to see what the fuss was about. I found you on the floor beside the thing on the bed over there.
Oh, crap! Is it... Kate?
The man-beast you rescued is alive. A dose of health potion was administered to it while you were unconscious.
My word, what is that?
I am an advanced handheld computer assistant.
Well, very good then.
Did you give it the health potion, Tom?
Well, I assumed you wouldn't have brought it here if you weren't trying to keep it alive. Wherever did you find such a thing?
So yeah, I explained everything to Tom, and after he told me off for being reckless, I had a rest and came back here to see what's left of the lab. Hopefully I won't get covered in poisonous gunk this time. Guess I won't be taking the lift back down. Oh well, that's why we have long fall boots and a jetpack. So, Geronimo! Wow, kudos to whatever demo guy they hired, cause they didn't even leave a trace behind. I mean, you could almost get away with saying that there was never a lab down here to start with, and I just made it all up. Almost. Right, let's stick a couple of torches down and see what we've got here. Oh, looks like we've got a geode over here that I've not seen before. What? Hey, diamond crystals! Wait, does that mean unlimited diamond supply? Haha, joke's on you, whoever tried to blow me up. A quick inspection revealed that the entire geode was flooded from top to bottom with water. So lacking in the sponge department, I grabbed all the buckets I had in storage and started trying to bail the water out. Which was never going to work because all the water was source blocks, and removing one just meant it would be regenerated by the ones surrounding it. So I changed tact and started painstakingly filling the geode with cobblestone, layer by layer. That way, when I removed the cobblestone, the water sources were being erased. And a lot of cobble placing and breaking later, I had the entire geode cleared out and water-free. Did I inadvertently use up almost all of my back tank air pressure in the process? Yes. Did this mean I only narrowly avoided getting stuck at the bottom of a giant cave system in the bowels of the planet? Also yes. Luckily, I always have my grapple gun on hand in case of such emergencies. And one quick jaunt over to the power station for a top-up later. And I was back in the cave to gather up my rewards. So, while I was clearing out the water, I did accidentally break one of these diamond clusters. And as you might expect, they drop diamonds. So you think, great, grab a budding block and go slap that on a growth accelerator. Riches for days. Except none of these diamond crystal blocks are budding blocks. In fact, budding diamond crystal blocks don't even seem to exist. In fact, I broke one of those crystal blocks while I was clearing out the water. And if we just check... Yeah, it would appear that apart from being able to make a cable facade out of them, which you can do with just about every block by the way, they don't actually serve any purpose whatsoever beyond decoration. Will that stop me from taking the geode apart and putting it in storage? Of course not. This is me, and that's the kind of thing I do. But I will be the first to admit that this is by no means an efficient use of my time, and like most of the things I do, of little to no benefit to anyone. Anyway, you don't need to watch me mine all this, so I'll catch you on the other side. Okay, geode harvesting complete, and I am now the proud owner of 8, 9, almost 10 stacks of completely useless crystals. What am I doing with my life? Thankfully, that particular existential crisis didn't last too long, and I was soon back to exploring. Turns out that the lab explosion had uncovered a cave spider spawner. Oh good, poisoned again. Love it. Let's just light you up, shall we? Flipping spiders. Pain in the bum, the lie. I would add the spawner to the world's most inefficient XP farm, although I think we can safely say it wouldn't improve it that much. But at least I know where it is if I decide I need a string farm down the road. I spent the next half hour or so exploring the abandoned mineshaft they'd quite clearly built the lab on top of. Found a couple of neat little bits, including a mountaineering pick. And whatever this black lotus thing is, gonna need to look into that at some point. Other than a bunch of minecart rails, it wasn't the most fruitful of ventures. But you know, it was kinda nice to just wander around and explore for a bit. After a while though, I got fed up of being in a cave and decided to go check on, what did Kate call it? The Beast Man? Of course, true to form. Alright, I've screwed up. I know, big surprise, Dan messed up again. Is it even worth mentioning anymore? I should just put a big Dan will probably screw up disclaimer at the start of every episode and be done with it. Anyway, once again I thought I was recording and I wasn't, so I've done some stuff and now I need to go through it all again so you're up to speed. As I explained, to myself apparently, the health potion that Tom used on the purple guy... No wait, that's a whole other franchise, we can't call him that. Screw it, I'm calling him Jeff for now. So the potion Tom used on Jeff is part of a very limited amount of medical supplies the village has, and I don't want to be dipping into that in case a real villager gets injured or sick. So I decided to make some of my own. A, so it's not my fault if someone dies because they used medicine on something to do with me, and B, so if there's an emergency, I can buff the village's available supply. Right, I'll meet you in the basement. Okay, so, as I was saying, I've been trying my hand at potion making, and before somebody says, "But you don't do magic," it's not magic, okay? At its best, it's chemistry, and at its worst, it's mixology, and neither of those are magic. Okay? Okay. Anyway, let me grab some water and we'll go over these potions real quick. There we go. So this potion making stuff is pretty straightforward so long as you can get your hands on the materials. First you stick your water bottles in your brewing stand with a bit of blaze powder for heat. Add a bit of nether wart. And once that's done heating and filtering through, you get yourself some awkward potion. Next, you add your glistering melon. Bit expensive this stuff, it's watermelon slices surrounded by 8 gold nuggets to craft, so you can imagine why a small village wouldn't have a lot of it. Anyway, once that's cooked, you'll have level 1 healing potions. But if you add a pinch of glowstone dust and let that cook through, you'll be bumping up the potency to level 2. But what if, like Jeff, your patient is too unconscious to drink their meds? Well, that's where gunpowder comes in. See, with a little dash of go bang powder, we can make the brew so potent that just coming into contact with it will achieve the desired effects. Right, I'm gonna go drop these off in Jeff's room and we can get on with what I was doing before I realised I wasn't recording anything. See, it occurred to me that if I'm gonna make more of this stuff, I need a ready supply of glistering melons, and while I know we can get, among other things, gold nuggets from crushing up tuff, the only totally reliable way to get melons is to grow them, which got me thinking about melon seeds. Which made me realise that since I started on this little adventure, I've been collecting a shed load of different seeds that are just sitting in storage doing nothing. And it's time we fixed that. So with that in mind, I got out the chunk eater and had it start carving us an area to work with. And now I know that I'm actually recording something, I think I'll go set up the chunk eater for another pass, and you lot can watch a time lapse. Alright, that's enough of that for now. I somehow managed to tame 2 horses during that time-lapse. I shall call them Jeremy and Caleb, and they shall be my farm horses. I'm also pretty sure I saw a skeleton horse wandering about over here somewhere, and we don't discriminate here at VT. Yeah, horsey, horsey, horsey. Where'd he go? He can't have gone far. It's a reanimated skeleton, for crying out loud. Oh, there he is. Right, let's get you tamed. Or not. Are you already tamed? Apparently so. Well, that was easy. Could do a few more like you. Right, you're welcome to hang out on the farm, just no eating the other horses or reaping souls and such like, okay? There's a good chap. After introducing Boney to the other horses, I got to work clearing up the areas the Chunk Eater hadn't quite reached. It was all going pretty well until it started chucking it down. Just like being back home. No, hey up, here comes trouble. Right, probably best if I go home and sleep this rain off. Back in a jiff. Alright, it's another day, the sun's out, and as per always, my equipment is being weird. As you can see here, I've got the cart assembler pointed towards that hill we were removing during the time-lapse. But for reasons known only to the powers that be, when I place down the Chunk Eater, it's facing the wrong direction. Because why, I ask you, would anything work as intended? Ever. Question is, what happens if I put down the other... Actually, just for science, let's see if it places backwards facing this way. Of course it does. There, and it's going. Wait, we'll have less of that, thank you. I swear I've never put this thing away switched on, and yet every time I put it down again, there's a 50-50 chance that it's just gonna go off and start wrecking stuff immediately. Anyway, let's see if putting it down backwards works. Oh, yeah, it has done. And it's off again. Good job there's nothing over there that I don't want removing. Having established that putting the machine down in reverse actually got it facing the right way, I repositioned the Chunk Eater in a spot it would be more productive and let it do its thing. For all its faults, at least it does its job, you know. Removing all this manually would have been a massive pain otherwise. As soon as the Chunk Eater was done, it started raining again. And of course it's raining. Right, I'm gonna get all this leftover stuff tidied up. But no use all of us being bored. I'm sure Editor Me will cut all that out if we ask him nicely. Puppy dog eyes, everyone. Ta-da! I've left a bit of a hill over there on the left. And all this is going to need grading down eventually so it all lines up properly. But for now we've got loads of space to work with, and we can easily spread out into the impact crater area if needs be. Before we start laying out crops though, I think we should make this area look a bit more fit for purpose. Alright, time-lapse is done. That's all looking much more earthy, so let's grab my scythe and my scythe is nearly busted. Terrific. Okay, do I have a hoe I can use for now? No, of course not. Honestly, this episode's a shambles. Well, realistically, I'm a shambles and it's affecting the quality of the episode. Right, I'll go get my scythe charged up and we'll start laying down some crops. Back in a bit. With a mostly recharged scythe in hand, I return to our newly prepared area to start laying out the crops. My original idea was to do a 16 by 16 field of wheat and surround it by water to keep it irrigated. But as you can see, as this time-lapse progresses, the water border didn't irrigate the middle, and also that I can't count and had to readjust the overall size. Anyway, watching me plant crops is boring, so I'll just get stuff planted and we'll check it all out. Alright everyone, I have returned from a bit of a plantathon and we have a decent amount to go over. So let me talk you through it. Over here we have our pumpkin patch. Unfortunately, pumpkins don't grow very quickly in the spring, so the yields aren't going to be very impressive right now. Next to them we have the watermelons. Same deal as the pumpkins, I'm afraid, so when we do get to the growing season, it'll be important that we stockpile. They are growing a bit quicker though, so we have a couple at least. Next up we have our wheat. I rejigged this area so that it better matches with the other ones, but we do still have all 256 growing spots we wanted. Moving right along we have the tomato crop. And if I just sneak in here, you'll see that as well as Farmer's Delight tomatoes, I also have a row of Croptopia ones, so we have 2 varieties on the go. Then we have barley, which I'm hoping we can leverage towards making beer for the bar at the inn. Then you've got your Minecraft staples, potatoes, and carrots, you've got to have those. Next we have cabbages, popular to have with roast dinners. Then we've got kale, got to have your superfood. Next to that we've got green beans, broccoli, lettuce, and lastly Yorkshire tea, because it's the best. Also, I'm aware Yorkshire tea is the blend and not the leaves, but this is another world, okay? And if I want to have Yorkshire tea leaves, I'm going to have Yorkshire tea leaves. Look at all those crops. I didn't even use a stupid amount of bone meal to make it all look good for the cameras. Nope, never happened. Anyway guys, that's going to do it for this one. We've still got a long way to go, but we'll get there. Next time I might look into a harvesting system for all these crops. For now though, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, then help us grow by subscribing and leaving us a cheeky like and a comment below. I've been Dan. This has been Voxel Tales, and until next time remember, be good. And if you can't be good, don't get caught. Bye guys.